How we doing today, guys? Sam back with this week's fishing report for you. Things are starting to heat up. Rockfish opened up just last Thursday, and that's what most folks are looking to do. It seems like it's really good fishing out there, so whether you want to go out and troll, fish baits, or jig, it really seems to be pretty good wherever you want to go. So Love Point has definitely been the higher concentrations of fish that I've heard aside from the bridge. The bridge has been really productive as well, whether you want a live line spot or cast jigs there. If you want to cast some jigs and troll, I would head up towards Love Point area. Try and get out over there in some of those ledges. There's lots of contours out there, all sorts of fishing structure to be found. As far as a little bit south of there, I've heard of a few fish over on Hackett's area for some folks, especially some bottom fish, a few perch out there, not too many yet. I think that's probably been our biggest thing is the perch really haven't showed up quite how we've expected them. A great option for you for getting out there and trolling are these tandem rigs here. These are Canyon Candle Tacky.
Go ahead.
How we doing today, guys? Sam at Anglers with you. Fishing report for you. So it just opened up last Thursday, stripers. That's what everybody seems to want to get out there and do. Fishing's been pretty good from what I've heard. So whether you're a troller, a bait fisherman, or you like casting jigs, really it's all open for you. So just north of the bridge at Love Point on the east side has been probably the most productive area that I've heard for you boat anglers that want to head out there. Whether you want to troll, these are some nice tandem rigs we have in here. And some great colors like this. Smaller tandems this time of the year, fishing smaller baits like 4 to 6 inches when you're trolling has been most productive. When it comes to casting jigs, your typical stuff like your 6-inch BKDs on 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce heads, kind of depending on the depth and the tide, have been super productive for you. So the bridge has been good, Love Point area has been good, and I've also heard some fish over towards Hackett's. If you want to do some bottom fishing, that's kind of where the bite has been from what I've heard. Lots of spot out there and a few perch. We haven't quite seen the perch out in the main rivers and bay quite yet, but if there's been anywhere that people have been catching them, it's been over towards Hackett. So that's certainly something to check out. If you get out there early in the mornings, late in the evenings, throwing a topwater is a terrific option for you. A lot of fun to fish these guys. This is a little Tsunami Tidal Pro. Really great poppers. If you guys remember the old Smack It Stillwaters that were super popular, this lure was meant to mimic those. So we can't get a hold of those Stillwaters anymore, but we can get these and they work just as well for you. So pushing up inside of the rivers a little bit, crabbing has been okay. You can't expect too much this time of the year. It's definitely not a numbers game right now. But if you do want to get out there, running traps is going to be a little bit better than trot lines from what I've heard. Trot lines can be tough this time of the year because the crabs have to hold on and the water temps are changing constantly. And as you run a trot line, you're pulling them up off of this bottom and then you pull them up into a little bit cooler or warmer water, they tend to fall off. So traps can be most effective right now for you. I've heard the best rivers locally have been like in Whitehall. I've heard of some good crabbing up there. Magaly's been a little slower. I've heard some okay stuff out of the Severn. So certainly something to get out there and do if you don't prefer fishing. So let's go ahead and take it over to the eastern shore, maybe some snakehead areas. This is one of my favorite times to snakehead fish. They're not quite spawning yet. Once they start spawning and then later when they start guarding fry, they're super difficult to catch. This is a small little frog here from High Octane. Terrific option this time of the year. The water's warm, the fish are willing to feed on the surface. It's a great time to get out there. Some of your western shore spots are always a little bit more tricky. We just don't quite have the numbers that you have in some of those tributaries on the eastern shore, but there are fish to be caught, and this is the time of year to do it. Some other good options for you are chatterbaits or weedless swim baits. Both of those are super effective options as well. Bass fishing is also pretty fun this time of the year. We were in kind of a staging period last week and the week before that where they haven't quite moved up onto beds. A lot of those fish have. They've started to move onto beds. So sight fishing for them, a great option for sight fishing is like a brighter color bait that you can see really well. This is a 5-inch classic Senko here, but in the bubble gum. Being able to see your bait when you're sight fishing can be super helpful. So whites, pinks, things like that are a good option for you. Other stuff you can throw in there are really any sort of finesse presentations like Nico rigs and Ned rigs, and something that you can make bottom contact with when you're fishing those beds really helps piss off those fish. And that's kind of what you're trying to do when you're trying to catch them on the beds. If you're in some cooler water, fishing on the western shore, maybe some of the tributaries there for bass, I would fish some more moving baits. They're not quite up on beds in the cooler water areas, so moving baits like chatterbaits and spinnerbaits can be super effective this time of year. Moving down a little bit in the bay, the big red drum, they're not quite in Maryland waters. Hopefully they'll show up before long, but most of that's been in Virginia waters, and you can have some great success with those. I know some of the guys from the shop were out last week catching some pretty big fish. Really, it's just a matter of finding those schools in open water, which can be difficult, but using your sonar and your side scan is really the name of the game when it comes to those fish. And then you're throwing your bigger baits that we typically throw, the 8-inch Z-Mans, the 7-inch Z-Mans, things like that. Pink is always a good option for you. If you're pushing up in some of those southern river tributaries or Maryland line, Virginia waters, stuff like that, fishing with some smaller paddle tails in the shallows has been great for producing rockfish, speckled trout. Not quite puppy drum yet. Hopefully those are to come. Areas like the Honga, down around Hooper's Island have been really productive for guys. So a lot of great fishing to be done out there, and we wish you the best of luck. Thanks and take care.